Hello and welcome to my shop, Such As It Is. We're back with the third video for the Deckbox. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the hole for the neodymium magnet that I should have done before I assembled things. Got my little stack of magnets here. I'm over there. This little stack of magnets. Let's bring you over so you can see what I'm doing here. There we are. Actually, maybe you should be over on this side. Might be a little bit better view over here. So we've got the drill, we got the box, and we have a Forstner bit, which gives you a nice square hole in the bottom. I've just been kind of eyeballing these. I made a center mark, and I put a little point in there so I can square the bit. This isn't going to be a square. Like if I did it before, I'd be able to get it nice and square. This is square enough. But you can see we got a little, maybe you can't see, I don't know. There you see it. So I've really just been kind of eyeballing these until they look deep enough. Grab a magnet, set it in there. Yeah, it's maybe a little shallower than I'd like. It's a little bit below the surface, but that'll be fine. So let's get our super glue, our accelerator. We are going to put a drop of glue in the opening and a little spritz of accelerator on the magnet to hold it in place. And hopefully not get too much of it on my fingers. Suppose I should do this with gloves so I don't get super glue all over my fingers. There. Give that a second to cure. But the accelerator will cure it really quickly, and it's getting a little bit of a film on there, but that'll sand right off. That is not a problem. So we'll put the Forstner bits away and my drill away, and then we will get working on the little side pieces. So we're going to do two side pieces, one there and one there. And we want them to be about 1/2 inch deep. Is that what I want? Look at my, see what I had written down. 1/4 inch. If this is 3/8, 3/8 is less than 1/2. So yeah, 1/4 inch deep sounds about right. I think that's what I was going for. My top, my front, it's my back, here's my sides, which I've got some of my numbers wrong up here. But yeah, let's go with a 1/4 inch deep. We are going to do that with a dado blade. So let's get the dado set up on the table saw. And a dado is really just basically a stack of saw blades that are all packed together to make a super thick cut. Let's bring our light over here. Obviously, we don't need the 0 tolerance anymore. Let's put the push stick away. Lock my wheels down here. Bring the blade up. Now, I haven't tried doing this with the dado stack yet. I've been using the router for these. The router's a little sketchy. The way it's set up right now, I can't make the cuts quite as straight and consistent as I would like them to be. We take the riving knife out when we use the dado, which is why they're sort of illegal in England. All right. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a dado stack. Now, how thick do I want this to be? I think my initial ones were only 1/4 of an inch thick, but I think I'd like to go a little bit thicker than that. It doesn't have to be a specific thickness because I can always cut the pieces to fit to whatever thickness I want them to be. So that goes in there. We have all these lovely spacers that I need to take out here if we want to widen or narrow the dado stack by small margins, which in this application I don't need to do. Oops, these go on the outside of these. So spacer on first, then that dado blade. I think you just stick these in. Do I still have the? I'm going to double check if I have the manual handy, because I haven't actually done this yet. See? Yeah, we got to unplug. Remove lock nut. Place the first collar. Place the first outside blade on the arbor. We did that. Place one shim on or next. Place the chipper on next with the teeth in the gullet on the outside of the blade. All right. So I don't think we need the shims. Just put a chipper in here. Let's put a couple chippers in here. Now, all of these chippers should be increasing the cut depth by 1/8 of an inch, or 1/16 of an inch in the case of this one. So that's 2/8, so that's 1/4. So let's get this one on. Wow, this is a terrifying thing. I have to say, like, I've never used a dado stack before, buying this one. And I've never used one with the chippers yet. This is my first time trying out the chippers. And all I can say is, God damn, is this terrifying. This is a fierce looking piece of equipment. Especially when you understand just how fast these blades are turning. Oh yeah, I don't think I could go much deeper than that anyway. Actually, that... Ooh, that might actually be a little too deep. I don't know, I want to make sure this locking nut fits on here properly. Wow. I think that's just fitting on there. Man, you gotta have a healthy respect for something like this. I mean, probably if I've used one a bunch of times, it would be a little less intimidating. Holy shit, is this intimidating. All right. It all seems to be spinning properly. Oh. That is too thick for this plate. I don't think I can run without a plate. So I may have to, this may be my max width. So I'm going to have to take out a couple of chippers. Let's do that. I don't want to run this without a throat plate in there. That just strikes me as being a really bad idea. So let's err on the side of safety. Take out 2 of the chippers. Wow, I think that is just going to fit. Let's try this. Yeah, I need to make a dado throat plate for this if I want to use anything larger than what I've got. Okay. That's still hitting. Yep. That is still not going to work. We've got 2 chippers in there. I could always make 2 passes with the dado stack. I mean, that's certainly an option. But it's looking like, until I make a new throat plate, which I'm really going to need to do at some point. I need to make a 0 tolerance throat plate too. But until I do that, it looks like my max is going to be 1 chipper in here. So that'll give me a groove of about 1/4 of an inch. Because each blade is, the 2 blades together give me 1/8 of an inch. And then this, each chipper is 1/8 of an inch. So that should be about 1/4 inch cut. Let's make sure that clears. Okay. Nothing's touching, it's moving freely. So, lower this down. We want this to be 1/4 of an inch deep. So, we'll get our blocks out again. May as well run the test at the depth that we want. Down, down, down. All right. That'll give me a 1/4 inch square opening. Let's get a scrap to test this on. Not a fan of doing it this way, but that's how I'm going to be cutting it on the box. So, all right, you're up. Breathing protection, ear protection, dust collection. Plug it in. Well, that's a 1/4 inch deep, but it's not a 1/4 inch wide. 3/8. Oh. No, it's more than a 1/4 inch wide. It's 3/8 of an inch wide. Okay, so each of those is an 1/8. So what if I make 2 passes? So that's my first pass. And then I move it over the width of the blade. Like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now let's set up to do the box. Let's do this side first. So I'm going to make 1 pass, flip, make a pass, move it over, and then do that again. That doesn't have to be any precise distance. Okay. Nice. The surface is a little rough in there, but there's nothing I can't clean up with a little bit of a file or a chisel or some sandpaper. So, let us get the terrifying dado stack out of there. Get a saw blade in there. Ow. A sore spot on my thumb. I don't know what's from. Yeah, I'll definitely have to make a. Where did I put my wrench? I'll definitely have to make a throat insert if I want to be using this to make these, because I need to be able to put the stack in there and do it in one pass. Which is not a big deal. Oh, why is my thumb hurting? Do I have a splinter? I don't see anything. Wow. All right, my thumb is really hurting, like I've got a splinter in it, but I don't see a splinter in it. These are mostly going to be rip cuts that I'm going to be making, so let's get the rip blade back in there. And the rising knife. All right, well, that's the first time I've used the full, or the dado stack with the chippers. And it seems to have gone just fine. There we go. All right. Now, let's get this properly packed up and put away. We want to put all the chippers back on here. And it lets you kind of go around the clock with them so the teeth aren't contacting each other while they're in there. Because carbide steel is very tough, but it is also very brittle. And that's these little, the teeth on there are carbide. We'll put that, oh, we want to turn that a little bit so it's sitting flat. I like to put these two spacers between the two blades while it's in storage. Give this blade a bit of a turn. And lock the top back on. Here we are. All put away. All right, so it cuts from 1/4 inch to 7/8 of an inch. So 7/8 is the widest I can go with that. All right, let's go back over to the bench, shall we? And use a chisel on here just to clean those out a little bit. See, that's nice and handy to have that. The chisel, oh, dang it. My chisel's too wide. See if my 1/2 inch is sharp. I don't know how sharp that one is. Let's try this other one. All right, here we go. Just clear a little bit of that out of there. Square it off. flush it up. Most important is making sure that the ends are nice and flush. So that's where it's going to be visible. Yeah, there's a noticeable ridge right down the middle there that I want to take down. This to be as smooth as I can get it. Those ends aren't really as smooth as I would like them to be. Let's see if we can't clean them up a little bit. That's a little bit better. Square that up a little bit. There we go. It is quite a piece of machinery, that dado. I wonder who thought that up. Somebody was working on their sawmill and they were like, what if, now hear me out. What if we took a bunch of saw blades and stuck them all together? Then we could cut wider. Obviously, somebody thought that was a capital idea. All right, well, we do have two different dimensions here, but they're very close. They'll be fine. At least they're nice and straight and even. That's really what's important to me right now. Okay. Now, using our purple heart, we need to cut our strips for that. So, get a clean edge there. So I'm going to rip along here first to clean this edge up. Then we'll measure these and cut for that width. And then I'll try and rip them down to a 1/4 inch width or thickness. That's going to be the challenging part. That's going to be the challenging part. There it is. And crank. Okay. All right, let's gear up. Okay, we want to take a quick measurement here. Let's do these top ones first. We've got 0.67. 0.67. So it is unplugged. Okay. It should get us the width that we want. So it occurred to me, nope. It occurred to me that since I need to rip these down into 1/4-inch strips, that would be easier to do this with as a block instead of trying to do it separately. But I think it's still going to be a challenge. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to manage it. I mean, what I'd like to do is stick it like that and just make a pass that way. Which I think will be easy enough with this one. Yeah, we're unplugged over there. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to build a jig for this. I'm going to have to build a jig for this. It's that simple. Because this is a sketchy way to... I am not fond of this. All right, let's give it a try with this one and see how it goes. Well, cut it loose. Okay, that one did not work as well. Did it suck it down in? It did. And it shredded it in the process. All right. No, one of them is still in one piece. One of them is shredded. Here's the third one. All right. Two came out okay. One got disemboweled. So that did not, that was less than successful. And these are all too narrow anyway. I undercut them. Well, the ones I cut for the lower fit nice in the upper. Fit perfectly in the upper. The ones for the uppers are too narrow for the uppers. Okay, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? I still have more Purple Heart to work with. I think we need to work with this. So I think what would make more sense is to make, see, how are we cutting these right now? Right now we're cutting like this. So I think what would make the most sense would be to make a 1/4 inch groove on this side. That's about 3 of these deep. And then cut these off one at a time. Actually, only 2 deep, right? Because this is long enough that we got 1. That's a lot longer than we need it to be, right? Yeah. So 1, 2. Okay, so we got plenty of length here. So let's do that. On this edge, we'll go in this way, 2 deep. Boink, boink. So like right about to there. There's some extra to play with. And then we'll cut the widths. This I probably should do in a couple of passes. And yeah, we want it sitting a little bit proud. And that's just about flush. So we want to come a little bit more than 1/4. So I can always sand it down. So we'll do that. Gives me a 1/4 inch on whichever face I'm doing. So I'll do 2 or 3 passes like that until we're deep enough. And then we'll make our width cuts. Let's do it that way. Okay. I think we are all done with table saw adventure time for the day. Again, if I want to make these with any kind of rapidity and regularity, I'm going to have to come up with jigs for all of that. Instead of like hand doing them one at a time, measuring each one out, and fucking around with the table saw in really uncomfortable ways, to be quite honest. Come on. Anyway, mission accomplished. And I still have all 10. So that's what's really important. That's really the most important. So we got it done. We got it done right. And we got no injuries in the process. There we go. All right, back to the table. Not the table saw, just the plain old table. I hate to throw out these little scraps of Purple Heart because the shit's expensive. And I mean, I'm never going to use it for a big project. It's always going to be decorative pieces like this because that's really about all you can do with Purple Heart. But that one was... One of these fit in here nicely. That one fits pretty nicely. And that just about fits in that one. These are different widths, and I don't know why. They should be exactly the same, but they're slightly different. Anyway, let's glue and clamp. And then call it a day. All right. That one is nice and snug in there. So that's where that one's going. The lower ones I'll have to trim to get it in both sides, but that's not a problem. And we're going to go with good old wood glue on this and not super glue. Get my little tapper out. Snug. This one's going up here. There's just a tiny bit of wobble to that, which I might be able to fill up that gap with a little bit of shaving once this is done, but let's get it glued in for now. I mean, it might not even show once the glue is set. Who knows? Wait, let me clamp these towards the back. I don't want to put pressure in the center of the box. I don't want to flex that wood if I don't have to. Oh, that's awkward. That's better. No, it slides all the way through that one. You can't see what I'm doing over there. Come on over here. Get you a better view here. There we go. This end of it is snug. Yeah, see, it snugs up as we go further in. So let me clean that edge up just a little bit with a chisel. I don't know if that's from the dado blade or if it's from how I cut the inserts. I really can't tell. Let's shave a little bit off here. Ever so slightly. There we go. There we go. That's a fit. Except right at the very end. Here we go. We just need a couple of taps to seat it. And the glue will swell the wood a little bit. So hopefully any gaps will be cleared out that way. All right. It's in, that's not quite in, but a clamp will take care of that. Almost done with this video. This part of the build. And that just seats nicely in there. So I need a bit more precision in the cutting I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's these strips that aren't quite precise or if it's the dado that wasn't quite precise. I mean, and potentially I could use the router table instead of the dado. That's always an option. I want to get that working a bit better. Get that table set up a bit better, the router table, so I can make more accurate cuts with it. This, come on. Right now it does seem to have a tendency to wander a little bit. So we just need to take care of that. Okay, a little bit of squeeze out there. Now I'm going to do a very light clamp right in the center here. Just enough to bring everything together. There we go. Why did you fall off? All right, and I'll throw one more clamp in the middle there just to snug it up. And then we will call it a day for this one. All right. Now this glue I want to let set up overnight, which means tomorrow we start finishing. I just have to trim these off. So the finishing will be, I'll trim those pieces. We'll go over the whole thing with maybe a 60 grit or an 80 grit, maybe like an 80 grit sandpaper. Get out of my way. So tomorrow we'll start the finishing. And we still got the light behind me making it glare. So I think I'm going to go over the whole thing with like an 80 grit just to bring it smooth. And then we'll walk up through the grits until 240 or 320, something like that. And then I probably will do the inside with like a Danish oil, just a light coat, just to seal it up a little bit. And then a lacquer finish on the outside. So we'll see you in the next video, whatever that one comes out.